Hey, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, maybe, depending on where you are tuning in or what time you're watching us from. Hello and welcome to our newest and latest video webinar series, where I will be meeting with various folks from the edtech industry and or video users and talking to teachers, all about the value and the power of utilizing video or multimedia creation, interactive video in the classroom, and its impacts on education and the broader impact of this kind of teaching on our world. So I'm excited to kind of kick this new format off. I'm going to be hosting, and I am Ryan Kochevar, the WeVideo customer success, one of the directors of customer success at WeVideo, and I'll be hosting this show each and every week, bringing on new and exciting guests to chat with you all about the various ways we're seeing video being utilized in classrooms around the world. And today I have as our first guest a colleague of mine, Stu Jernigan. Hey, Stu, how are you doing?
Doing well, Ryan. Great to be here.
Great. So, Stu, we're going to showcase a lot of different ways and a lot of the work that you've been doing here at WeVideo to promote the idea of multimedia creation in the classroom. But why don't you give our audience a little taste of like where you came from? Because I know one of the reasons that I'm excited to have you on is because you also had connections to multimedia creation in the classroom as well. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I'm a former educator. I was a high school humanities teacher for many years in the Bay Area. Did my first video making project with students back in like 2008. We got a week off to just work on this video, got to explore the Bay Area, meet with a bunch of different organizations, film interviews, and put together a video. And we actually got to show it to the whole school in the auditorium, and it's this really neat culminating experience. But yeah, so I was a high school humanities teacher for many years, and then I led professional development for the school district in San Francisco and launched our digital storytelling program there, and so worked with a number of teachers over the years on designing and implementing media projects. So that's a great experience, and now I'm at WeVideo and I get to continue that work. So it's really exciting.
Yeah, fantastic. And I know we're going to try to draw some direct connections between the work that you've done in your time as an educator and why and how you brought that to sort of help WeVideo users and just users of video specifically, because a lot of what we promote here, in terms of getting students to create multimedia goes beyond just the use of the tool itself and can really promote these amazing connections to content and connections to critical thinking and collaboration. And I know a lot of what you're going to show today is going to help us to do that. So that being said, just real quick for all of you joining us live, if you'd like to comment or ask a question about any of the content you see today, you can use, if you're viewing us from StreamYard, you can go ahead and drop those comments or those questions there. We're also streaming on our YouTube channel, and our YouTube channel is wevideo.com/
Looks like we may have lost Ryan here. I'm assuming he'll pop back in. Here we go. There we go.
So we're at youtube.com/@WeVideo. These will all be streamed to our YouTube channel. So if you're viewing us from YouTube, you can also use that chat and we'll respond to you as your comments and questions come in. I'll try to keep it conversational today. So Stu's going to be making some content for you all and showing off some of our new January creative challenges that we've cooked up for you all. But additionally to that, he's going to be kind of talking through his process, and we'll be having a conversation along the way. So for you, again, if you have any comments, drop those in. If you're not watching us live, you can catch this, or if you need to leave early, you can catch this video on demand on our YouTube channel, but also right here in StreamYard using that watch link that you have access to from our WeVideo website. And I'll give you the places to grab those from at the end of our show. So yeah, let's jump in. So Stu, we've got some new creative challenges for the month of January, and this is a new thing here at WeVideo since Stu has joined us. And we've really been allowed to unlock his creativity. I wanted to give him a chance to talk through with you these really cool, quick, and easy ways to start your year off integrating some of those ideas about how to start making media with students. So first off, Stu, can you take us through like your concept for the creative challenges, what you kind of were thinking about when you approached this this idea, where it came from, or any context you might want to add around what they are and how people can start interacting with them.
Yeah. So we're launching our first set of creative challenges this month for the month of January, and we're going to be releasing these monthly at the start of each month. We have one planned we have creative challenges planned for the rest of the semester: February, March, April, May. We'll launch one over the summer as well. And they're just meant to be, sort of fun activities that, allow students to express themselves creatively. And, there's a chance to win swag by sharing the media that students create. Really just sort of trying to design, fun activities that help educators infuse creativity in their classroom and help students really express themselves and make learning joyful and engaging for students.
Yeah, and just a plug for that. Each month when we roll these out, Stu will be showcasing these through, we're going to be pumping out content in our newsletter to promote these, and then he'll be crafting a monthly show here to spread the word of these creative challenges. So we're still looking at some dates for those, but just be on the lookout. If you're excited about what you see today, just know, like he said, we've got a whole bunch coming the next few months that he's going to be able to show off. So let's get into it. I want to kind of see what you have to show off here, and then we'll go from there. So go ahead, take us through like where's the easiest place to access how a user might complete this challenge or facilitate it with their students.
Yeah, I'll share a couple of resources. I'll go ahead and share the link to this page in the chat. So this creative challenge, it's called Design Your Name. And the idea is for for students to use the new textiles in WeVideo and the letters of their name to create a fun motion graphic that communicates their personality. So we've set this up as a GIF. So it's sort of like a simple, quick activity, something you could run in your classroom in a day. And it's a great community builder, right? Students get to take their name, express their personality, create this sort of like name card motion graphic, share that with each other, and then they can talk about what their graphic represents about their personality. And that can be kind of just like a fun, non-intimidating way for them to share a little bit about themselves with each other and get to know each other and feel like, they're sort of a part of the classroom community. And I think one thing I just want to talk about is, media projects are an amazing opportunity to amplify youth voice and provide students choice over, what they learn about or what they investigate, what kind of story they tell. But using WeVideo and media creation doesn't have to just be, this sort of big media project. It can also be something that you use to infuse creativity in your classroom from day to day. And that's sort of what this creative challenge is an example of. And I think these are a great way to sort of scaffold the media creation process, having students start small with a fun creative activity where they're learning how to use a video editor and create media. and learning some like pretty cool techniques within the editor itself too.
Yeah.
That then they can apply to when they're making like longer form videos that are really telling a story. So these can be a great place to start in your classroom with using media creation.
Yeah, and you use the word intimidating, and I want to live there for a second, because I think oftentimes, and many of you who are viewing this right now, if you are seasoned multimedia creators, you had to start somewhere. You had to create that first piece of multimedia, and often I find it can be, some view it as intimidating, and I think so. Not just for students being intimidated and gaining those skills through these short projects, but how would you say, like, as a teacher who sees this challenge and wants to try it for the first time, what would you suggest, like, would be the way in, so to speak?
Yeah, we actually have this built out in the assignment ideas library, so it's super easy to assign to students. So I can show that. I think
Yeah.
maybe first I'd love to just like introduce people to the challenge. We have this kind of fun video that kind of previews it. Maybe show that, and then I can show how you would assign this through our
Yeah,
assignment ideas library.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
Go for
Yeah,
it.
let's take a look at this. So this is kind of an intro to the challenge itself. All right. Yeah. So that's the challenge. You saw some
Super
examples,
cool.
some fun examples of name cards there within that video. So the web page itself, it also has like a video introducing students to the new textiles. All those examples we're using the new textiles. So that's something you can check out. To Ryan's point, as far as assigning this, we've got it built out in the assignment ideas library. I'll show you that in a second. This page also links to a tutorial video that shows students how to create motion graphics. So all those examples that you saw, this video goes over the skills needed to create those examples. So you can just sort of assign this to students, explain the challenge, and then they have the resources needed to learn how to create those graphics. And then we're also inviting people to share their creations to social media, tag at WeVideo, and use the hashtag WeVideoCreative for the chance to win swag for this creative challenge. So yeah, I did mention that the assignment is in the assignment ideas library. So I'm just going to show you how that works within WeVideo. So from the homepage, you have this tab over here, assignment ideas. And you'll see our 2 creative challenges for January in the top left. The one we're talking about right now is the design your name. And
But
if I were,
can you say the hashtag again? Sorry.
yeah, hashtag WeVideoCreative.
Thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, the design your name challenge is the one we're talking about here. And so, if I were a teacher and I wanted to assign that, I could open it up and just save a draft to my class. All those resources that I just talked about on the webpage are also here in the assignment. So when you assign this to students, they'll have access to all of those as well. They'll have the video we just watched up here. They'll have the video introducing them to the new textiles if they want to check it out. There's also a link to some examples. So I just made like a little slide deck with like GIFs of those examples that we saw in that video. And this assignment is set up for students to create GIFs, which I'll show you here in a second. And then there's a tutorial video as well. So the link to the same tutorial video I mentioned is there as well. So students have access to that within the assignment. So yeah, if I wanted to assign that to students, I would just save that to one of my classes I've already set up. If you haven't already set up classes, you can create a class right here. But I'll go ahead and save it to my English class. This little pop-up appears, and so you can quickly navigate to that class that you assigned it to. But you can always get there just by navigating to classes and then opening the class. And I see the design your name draft here. So I'm going to just edit this assignment, and I mentioned that it's set up for students to create a GIF. If you want them to create a video and add music, you can change the project type to video. I'm going to leave this as GIF here. And then the other thing I wanted to point out is that we've attached a starting block to this assignment. And so basically a starting block is like a template that's set up for students. So when they open the project, they'll already have this template that they can use to start creating from. So you can remove that if you don't want to include the starting block, or you can leave it. I'm going to leave mine so I can just kind of show you guys what that might look like for a student.
You can also modify it as well, right? So you could take what we've provided for you and adapt it to your context as well.
Totally. Yeah. So I am going to just pop over from this to a student view to show you. Unless Ryan, you want to jump in with anything?
Yeah. Well, I was just, as you were going through that, it was just, if you're not familiar or you haven't used the assignment ideas library or you haven't used classes, I would encourage you all to familiarize yourselves with all the other content we have in there. Again, a lot of what we're going to be showing you today is how to really just quickly utilize some quick and easy multimedia projects to get started in creating with students, but there are also longer form projects in there as well. There's a ton of content. And if you're not familiar with utilizing classes, we have a ton of help articles that I'll share the resources for to help you get started there. We also have tons of webinar content to show you the technical details. We're not going to go into that today. But just wanted to let you all know that if you're not familiar with these workflows, they're super simple and easy to use. They're designed for teacher use and to help students and you access quicker opportunities to create multimedia. So I encourage all of you to do that. Now you can use other components of our editor to make these assignments. It's just set up for you so easily in assignment ideas. So yeah, let's dive in. I want to see an example of how you might make a motion graphic, and I want to see Stu's version of this. Let's see Stu's personality and how you approach this task.
Okay, sounds great. Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit more about longer form projects here in a little bit. But so I just jumped back to the teacher view since we were talking about that. I'm just going to open the assignment up, and I'm going to see now that none of my students have started the project, obviously, because I just published it. And I'm going to jump over to a student view now. So I'm logged into a student account on the homepage. And so for a student to complete this challenge, right, as a teacher, all you have to do is just really publish that assignment, make any modifications you want. But now as a student, I'm just going to jump over to classes, open up English Language Arts. I see the challenge here. I'll click jump in to start, and it's going to pop me into the editor. And this is where I now see, because I included the starting block, I see the pre-filled timeline down here. Students can also access the assignment description up here in the top right. There's a little clipboard icon for the assignment. And if they open that up, they'll see the video and all the links that we talked about before for the tutorial video and checking out the examples and instructions to turn in their project when they're done and all of that. So that's all there and accessible for them. Now, as a student, the cool thing about a starting block is I have a starting place now. So I've already got this, for example, I've already got the transparent text down here, right? And so I could just double click on this and edit the text. And instead of having it say Evangeline, I could have it say Stu. Maybe we'll make those capital letters. And I've already got this cool background under there. I'm going to turn the music off so that that's not distracting.
I love that tune though. Come on.
Should we put it back on?
Great.
Okay. Cool. So is this, let's see, I think I'm having a little bit of a delay on my internet. Are you hearing me okay?
Yeah, you're good. We got you.
Okay, cool. So I've got this cool like animated background back here, which we got these like two backgrounds. Now let's say I'm like, oh, okay, I don't really love this one. There are already some other examples in the project bin that are pre-filled in there, but students can also just go and search. I'm gonna just search like colorful backgrounds. See if there's anything that I love that pops up. Okay, let's try this one. So if I want to like replace the media that's already built out there, the timing is built out to be 4 seconds. I can just drag this down, click replace, and now I've got a new background under there. So I was able to quickly edit the text, quickly change the background, and really like I could be done. Like I could delete the rest of this and be like, okay, there's my GIF. So it could be a pretty quick, easy creation process. Using the starting block. But students could always like highlight and delete everything, if they wanted to start from scratch too with the starting block. So that's kind of a nice thing. So I'm gonna undo that. Actually, yeah, I will.
What would you recommend? What would you say like this is like the standard approach, best practice for this? What would your answer to that be? Should I use a starting block or should I not?
Well, I think it depends on the assignment. If it's an assignment where a template sort of makes sense, you want it to be, for example, if you want it to be, a quick activity, where, like this one where like you really just want them to be able to edit the text and maybe swap the media out, and you want it to be a quick activity in your classroom, a starting block can help with that. Also, providing a starting block can be, just a useful scaffold that then students have the option to use it or not, because they can always delete it. So it can be a nice scaffold to provide as an option for students. And then I think the other thing that's kind of neat is like, it can also be a way of giving students ideas of like how to do things. So like, for example, like if I'm in this editor and I take a look at this next section here, I can see, okay, cool. Like, oh, I could have the same text change colors, and I can kind of see, oh, they split the text here, and then just change the color here. So I can kind of like use that to analyze, like, how did they do something? So it might give students ideas and help them, kind of figure out how to do things too.
Great, absolutely. That's a great rationale for that.
Yeah. So I guess I just want to show a couple things real quick. Unless did you have another question or?
No. Keep moving. That was great. Thank you.
Okay, cool. So I did want to just show a couple things real quick. So let's say I am, starting from scratch for this challenge. I'm going to go to text and I'm going to expand the titles, and we've got all our new text styles up here at the top. We use the transparent one, so I'm going to just bring that back down. I just wanted to show how I set that up to fill the screen. So you can kind of like drag and expand this out to fill the screen like that, but there's still the space on the top. And so you could use it like that, like how it is. Or I can double click on the text in the timeline to open this up. I can edit the text. You could change, if I want, I could change like the font, right? And size and all that. I think the max you can go on the transparent text is 400. You can also use this grid to help with like, centering text, which is kind of nice. But if I want this to fill the space, just a little trick here, you can just like add a character, like I'll do a period, and then create some space here, and then create some space and add another character, and then just move to center your name here. And then the other thing is that the transparent text is set up with like a slightly transparent outline. So if I want this to be like black, for example, where you only see the letters, I could do that. Right now, you're not seeing the letters because everything's black. But if I put a background in there now, I'll go back to the project bin. If I put a background in there now, you'll see the letters. So that's just like a trick for the transparent text. And then I'll show you guys one more thing. Let's use we'll use this tropical text here. So another kind of cool way you can animate text is by adding transitions. And there's, play around with these. There's so many transitions that you can use to animate text and create motion graphics. I'm going to look for the swap one.
And if you're wondering, these text styles, if this is the first time you're opening WeVideo again in the new year or thinking about using it with students, we released our new text engine in December. And so it's improved the way you can creatively use text in media projects, which is what Stu's kind of showing you. The whole design of this challenge in a way was meant to show off all these new cool ways that you can use text.
Totally. Yeah, so I'm going to just make this my name. Oops. Here, and then, so then I'm going to add this swap transition down here. And that's going to give this like cool fly-in effect, right? And then I can add that to the end too, and I'll get this cool like fly out effect, right?
Yeah.
So that can be kind of fun. Another thing you can do, so that's like using transitions, and you can play around with those. There are lots of cool ones. Another thing you can do, if I double click on this text, there's also this animation option. So I could just like choose, you choose a start and end position and scale. So I could, just change the end position to like 2, let's say. We'll just double it in size. And then we'd get this like nice fly in, and then, expanding, and then flying out, right? So you can play around with that. You can also like split the text and then, maybe add like a transition in the middle there, so you can kind of play around and
little flourishes to make it more interesting, I guess, right?
Yeah,
text on itself, text alone, it is made better, I think, by some of these little effects that you're adding, and just like adds another layer to the decisions that you can make to express your creativity.
Totally. Maybe change the colors around. So then, you get this like nice little effect here, right? So it's just adding like different visual effects to make it, more stimulating. And like you said, kind of express your personality. So, and the tutorial video goes into some more advanced effects too. So it's kind of like, those are some sort of quick, easy ones you can use. And then there's some other things you can do. And so you can check out the tutorial video for that too. So, once students are done, they can click turn in here. And the really cool thing here then, for anyone who's not using the classroom flow, one of the really cool things about using it, I'm just going to pop back over to my teacher view. Remember how I had like not started before? If I had looked at this while I was working on it, I would see in progress. And as a teacher, I could actually like open the video editor and comment on their work and see what they're doing and even add to the project. Now I see like they turned it in. So now if I open that up, I'm going to have this is processing, right? But once it's done, I'll see their completed work here, and I'll have a list of all the students' projects that are turned in here. I can just flip through and watch them, or I could project this for the class, and we could go through and check out everybody's creations together. So
great way to keep everything in one place.
Yeah. And, facilitate a film festival or, something along those lines, sharing of media in the classroom.
So, okay, you went through that. I got to see a little bit inside of the personality of Stu while you were doing that. As we were viewing your process, right? Okay, so now it's time to do something with this video, right? And we're encouraging everybody to submit this. It is student work. So of course you abide by, the rules and regulations of whatever's been set forth by your school or district in terms of sharing student content to the wide world. There shouldn't be voice or face in any of these if it's just their name using music. So, it's of course your level of appropriateness in terms of sharing their content, but heck, get out there and do one for yourself if you want to try it out and share that with us. But I think, saying share it, means one thing, but, I wanted to ask you, Stu, as a former, educator and someone was designing this to be shared, what do you feel like is the value of sharing beyond, just a student turning this in and a teacher maybe potentially just sharing it with the class? What do you feel like the value is of getting it to a broader audience?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really the critical piece, right? Like the objective is for youth to make media that can be shared with an audience and to amplify youth voice, help build confidence in students in sharing their work with an audience and expressing their ideas and their opinions and sharing that with an audience, to be civically engaged if you're having them make media
Mm-hmm.
about, issues that are important to them or relevant to their age group. Um, Issues around digital citizenship, like right, whatever that is. Um, it's you're if you're a science teacher, or a history, social studies teacher, and you're having students learn about climate or environmental issues, right? They can write a paper and turn it into the teacher, or they can make media and share that with an audience, and
Yeah.
have an impact on a broader audience. Help to inform people about things that matter to them. So that's really the critical piece. And I've seen that done in a number of ways. I've seen that done in sort of like these large presentations, like in an auditorium, where you sort of run a film festival and share
Yeah.
media with a broad audience. I've seen people create web pages that can be shared also with a broad audience. I've seen teachers use those web pages in like a gallery walk format, where
Mm-hmm.
students walk around and or students like leave their media up on a computer and they walk around and sit down and listen, or they navigate using the web page, sit down and listen and give each other feedback. But I think that sharing piece is a critical component, and it's a great opportunity to run feedback activities, have students reflect on the process of both making media and sharing media. And there are all sorts of ways you can facilitate discussion beyond that. Once
Yeah.
students have viewed each other's media, then to sort of extend the learning and engage in discussion around the topics that they're making media about. So yeah, it's a great. I think it's just a great way to sort of push learning further and deepen the learning experience.
Yeah, and even if you weren't to post this kind of work to social media, right, it would still like encouraging all the students to view every other student's video, or having some kind of showcase if you have a digital newsletter, including some of this content and like showcasing the work that students are doing. Video is an incredibly powerful format in which to do that. Not only provides the intentional choices that are being made as they create, but then also a personal authorship over their work and pride in the work, and then allowing others to see it and share it. So, so that's something, I've talked a lot about. For those of you who've been a part of these shows or viewed the content that we promote, it's these ideas that go beyond the tool and that connect to really discrete skills that can be learned through this process, or the kind of good vibes in education that we want to see happening in the classroom. So on that, and before we move on to our next kind of project topic area that we're going to share, is just like, you were doing a demo, right? And that was to show off how to make the project itself. But as you get into this, you meaning the audience or your students, and you're starting to, see these intentional decisions, whether they're being made consciously or not, have an impact on the design process, right? So I just wanted to get your take on kind of like how you feel like the media making opportunity can foster, not just design skills, but other, like, make intentionality of the choice behind what you're doing in that project. So like what
Yeah.
do you see that connecting to like other areas of education?
Well, if you do you want to share the screen again?
Yeah.
I've got my yeah.
Yeah,
Like, I
there's
mean, if I were to,
the
yeah, I mean, I could see, if I were a teacher, I could see sort of projecting this, either running like a small group activity or projecting this in front of the class, and um, maybe asking students like, what does this image communicate? Like, what kinds of personality traits, or what kinds of like what are you getting from this image, right? Like,
yeah.
mine is colorful. It uses bright colors. I think that, like, I would be trying to convey something along the lines of joyful kindness, like a bright sort of spirit,
Yeah.
something along those lines. So you could talk about like the line shape, or
Mhm.
are they soft? Are they jagged? What does that kind of convey? So I do think that these can be like really interesting opportunities to get into some of these deeper discussions about visual communication skills and
Mhm.
design and shape and color and
Messaging.
motion and what those kinds of things convey. And like, you
Yeah.
can teach some of that. You can also sort of pull some of that out of students and get them to think critically about that. So that's one thought on that. I don't know if you want to add anything or.
No, that was fantastic. That was a great response. I was similar thinking about that, right? I mean, we both have a similar background in kind of media literacy and the idea that there are intentional decisions made in every piece of media that's produced, and it conveys a certain message to a specific audience. And I think no matter what the media project you're facilitating and creating for students in the classroom, there are opportunities to do that because any video anything published in the medium of video has a message. And so I think that's an important thing to consider when we're doing this. So moving on from this project, we have, of course, we're not going to have time today to get into longer form projects. We're hoping to run another episode later on in the month of February or even in March, which will get into some projects you can facilitate towards the end of your year, either using video as a medium in a capstone project or at the end of a project-based learning cycle. But this episode today was designed really to showcase how easily you can start creating media in your classroom, and that those creative challenges in each month you're going to see they're going to be very similar in length and tone in terms of like we want people getting in there, seeing how easy it is for students to make media and how fun it is, but also how much you can connect it to other areas of your content or your curriculum that will develop some of the skills that Stu just touched on, right? Like the ability to analyze and evaluate something. I think that applies not just in media or media arts, it applies in other things as well. So I think we have time for one more. Oh, you want to go ahead? You're going to.
Yeah, well, I was going to say I could share like one other idea of sort of where I might go from there if I were teaching
Yeah.
in terms of like scaffolding the media making process.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to share screen again?
Yeah, go ahead and present your screen. I think it disappeared from us. Okay. Went into the machine of StreamYard. Excuse me. But just as Stu's grabbing that, and again, this is, depending on where you are in your media making journey or the ability to, provide these opportunities for students. Again, these are great jumping off points, but veteran teachers and folks who have been doing this for a while, again, these are also just the more opportunities to make media, the better. Mm-hmm. And so, where might you go from here, right? Like, okay, I'm new to this. What's the next step on this journey?
Yeah, so I think that creative challenge is kind of a great example of like how you could make media making a regular part of your classroom, daily, weekly, routines and infuse creativity in your classroom. And there is another one that's very sifimilar around creating motion graphics with your New Year's resolutions. So you can check that out as well. But then like from there, having students create a video, a nice place to start for that. Could be having students create a video introducing themselves to the class. And so we've got this assignment called Introduce Yourself. And the idea here is for them to just create like a short about me video. It's, it says 1 to 2 minutes. The example that I have here is like 17 seconds. I think I'll just show that real quick just so you can see like how simple this this project could be. So here's my example of an about me video. So again, like simple, I used stock media for that. I also uploaded some of my own media. They could do one or the other or both. And that can be like a great beginning of semester activity. We're in January. That's something you could run now or again in August to help students get to know each other in the beginning of the year. For any sort of media project, it can be helpful to have students plan their video using a storyboard. So we've provided an example here that's sort of specific to this activity, right? It's asking them to introduce, their name, their one of their interests or hobbies, another fact about themselves, and then a third fact about themselves. And so with this, they can sort of draw what they're going to what they're going to show. And then, if they're going to say anything or have text, they can plan that out as well. And then they can plan out if they're going to have music or sound effects, what those sounds might be. So that can be a really useful resource just for planning the video ahead of time. Google Slides, by the way, has this like really neat drawing tool in here, the scribble line. So like I could actually like kind of like start drawing mountains, for example, and storyboard that way. So
Super cool.
there are other tools you can use as well.
You can print it out too and do the old pencil and paper drawing as well.
Yeah. So that might be a nice place to go from there. This assignment also comes with some resources to help with the sharing process. There's a web page template here for setting up a quick web page to host student media on. There's also like a slides template to have students share their creations too. Or you can, like we showed, use the assignment flow and then kind of run through the media together as a class. So a few different options for facilitating sharing of media at the end.
Fantastic. And again, this might seem like doesn't fit this time of the year, the About Me video, but there are cases where if you are someone who is facilitating the creation of a class community every semester because you see different students, or because you have the need to do that at this time of year, that kind of video or that kind of introduction to others can really create a wonderful sense of community in the classroom to help your teaching be more effective, right? I think I've always found when our students are know each other and buy into the idea of class culture and the class community, it's a better experience for everyone. And so I think utilizing video as a medium to facilitate that is awesome. And again, it's fun and engaging, right?
I would say too, if you're about to launch into a bigger media project, you could run that activity and present that to students as a way for them to learn how to edit a simple video sort of at the beginning of the unit, with the knowledge that they're going to be creating a larger piece of media for the content that they're learning, and just run that as a fun activity for them to learn the editor and get to know a little bit more about each other.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. And then, again, we didn't get into longer form projects or maybe projects that speak specifically to a particular content area. But I think the point that I wanted to just emphasize in what Stu is showing you and discussing in his answers to the questions as we've been talking here is that the resources that we have in a number of these assignment ideas, but that we'll be sharing with you, as well through this video, as we've shared with you, through this video, that you can access through the assignment ideas library, but also on our website, is that video is subject agnostic. It can be utilized in any content area and discipline, and as long as you have the resources to support the media making process, then most any traditional act that you've done, an activity you've done traditionally, can be transformed into a video project. I think one thing I want to comment on that Stu showed is storyboarding is a great way to plan and prep, and then utilizing these smaller daily activities to get into the editing environment and create really help your students, and you see how this can then be integrated even deeper into the curriculum. So that, I think, is something that doesn't get emphasized enough, is that video can be applied anywhere. It's just a matter of planning and understanding how you want it to be utilized. So as we wrap up, I think, Stu, did you have any other last suggestions or comments or content that you'd like our viewers to take away?
I don't think so. I feel like we kind of covered all the stuff that I was hoping to get to.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
If you're wondering where to go after you do an All About Me project, we're going to have another episode focused on specifically the creation and implementation of multimedia projects. That information will be released by the beginning of next week. We typically will release our schedule of episodes on a monthly basis, trying to get deeper down the road there. But the planning process isn't a quick one. So we'll get that information out to all of you as soon as we have it available. I want to point out a couple of things for you as we wrap up here. I'm going to go ahead and remove Stu's screen so we can come back together here. Again, if you are just joining us or you missed any part of this and you'd like to go back and rewatch it, this video will be on demand on our YouTube channel. Let me see if I can get to our banners without dipping out here like I did earlier. Our YouTube channel is right here, youtube.com/@wevideo. Stu posts a number of great pieces of content there as well. All these episodes will be streaming there live and then on demand. You can also always register and join us here in StreamYard. If you do join us in StreamYard and register, you will have access to follow-up email content that will contain all of the links to these resources. So I would encourage you to attend these webinars or this show, watch these episodes, view us in StreamYard so you can get access to all of that content. Otherwise, I don't necessarily get to collect the information I need to follow up with you all to make sure you've got all the resources from this show. But on demand, it's a great way to catch this on demand. Is youtube.com/@wevideo. So please head over there and view this video on demand after we wrap up today. Again, we're going to be running the show every week. Next week, we will journey into interactive video. As many of you know, we are no longer just a video editing software. We do provide the ability now to create interactive video lessons with content you create in WeVideo and that you can utilize from third-party sources like YouTube and Vimeo. So I'm going to have Taylor Ripley. She's one of our resource designers for our interactive video component. And she's going to be coming on and talking to me all about the importance and the value of interactive video next Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern time. So please join us for that. And for the rest of the schedule, you can head on over to wevideo.com/webinars and view the schedule for the remaining episodes in January. February's will be up next week. So with that, yeah, go ahead.
I will
Stu.
just say one thing. So yeah, we do have, like I said, we'll be releasing creative challenges monthly. For February, we'll be running a creative challenge around making media celebrating Black History Month, and so you can look on February 1st, look for resources coming out on that. We'll also be doing another quick webinar introducing the challenge, I believe on February 1st.
Yes.
So you can look for that. And yeah, we'd love to see what you all create. So please do share what you create to social media, tag at WeVideo, use the hashtag WeVideoCreative for a chance to win swag. And it'll be fun it's also a fun way to participate in the creator community and see what other people are creating and connect with other educators, creative educators, WeVideo educators across the country and the world. So
yes, absolutely. Yeah. Please share what you make. We love to see it. We love to promote it. We love to celebrate it. So please do that on your preferred social platform and tag us accordingly. We do have a Facebook group where we really encourage folks to utilize that as a forum, facebook.com/group/WeVideo Educators. You can also post your creations there. Anywhere in the wild that we see a post tagged to us around this creative challenge will, like Stu said, give you the chance to win some sweet swag. So as we wrap up, Stu posts a number of awesome pieces of content every week on his X profile. I'm still not used to saying X. I will call it X. I'm trying. But that's where you can follow Stu at Stu Jernigan. I'm at RK from WeVideo. We post a lot of the registration links to these events and other cool ways that you can engage with WeVideo. So am I forgetting anything? Did I misspeak on anything? Is there something else that you want to share with the good people viewing us, or are we saying goodbye?
I think we're saying goodbye. I think we got it.
All right. Be sure to follow us and be sure to tune in every week for awesome WeVideo content as we start to roll out our guest list. Please check wevideo.com/webinars again for that information on how to register for upcoming episodes. But until then, thank you so much for tuning in today. We'll see you next week, and happy creating. Bye,
Take care,
everybody.
everybody.